Hi, everyone. Julie Bacon, and I'm glad to be with you again to talk with another amazing Arizona School Board member from the Tolleson Union High School District, Devin Del Placio. So excited that you're here, Devin. Hi.
Hello, good morning to you, and I'm super excited, and I appreciate you for inviting me on, to talk all things school board.
Also, all things school board.
Yeah,
So this is really targeted at, new school board members, people who've just been elected. And so I wonder if you could share with us one thing that you found difficult when you first became a board member and one thing that has really inspired you in your board service.
for sure. So, I guess sort of the first challenge coming into this brand new is that you quickly figure out there is no school for school board members. There's no, school that teaches you how to do these things. So you have to. It's on you to really seek out professional development opportunities and take advantages of best practices and conferences, et cetera, to help you be a better servant to your students and to your community. So that was one of the first things I quickly realized was, look, there's no one here holding your hand. You got to kind of figure out what you need, and then from there implement what you learn. That for me is the biggest takeaway as a new board member.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
What about the most inspiring thing so far? Because you are how far into your service?
So I'm in my second term. So 6 years in. 6 years in is my second term, and I'll tell you what, this was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life was to become a school board member, and I say that wholeheartedly. Obviously there's no pay and none of that, but I didn't get into this, to this work for any of that. I got in just to help kids that grew up like me, help kids who, didn't have it easy growing up, if you will. And now I'm in a position to where I can create opportunity for them. So I guess that's the most inspiring thing is that as a board member, you actually have a seat at the table to implement all the change that you would like to see and that would benefit your students and the community the best. And so I guess for me, that's inspiring. And of course, it's always great to hear the stories of students who, who have so much going against them, so much adversity, and yet they still, rise to a level of accomplishment, and you just know they're going to go on to do great things. And that's also inspiring too, is just the many stories from students who we have an opportunity to be able to help them reach their full potential. That's what's inspiring.
I know sometimes I think to myself, I wish that people who aren't involved in our schools could talk to our high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing kids, and we are in great hands. And that's one of the things that is so inspiring about doing this job.
No, love it. And that's really it. So, and that's part of the reason why I ran. So two reasons why I ran for the school board. One is because I found out I was going to be a dad. So now I had some skin in the game, if you will. And then two, prior to running for school board, I was a community organizer. So I worked with a lot of youth, high school youth, and, I got to hear their experiences and in the classroom and on campus. And then that's when I started to really research what a school board member was. And then from there, I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I want to be able to help, these kids prepare for that next step in life.
Yeah. So not only are you really involved in Arizona with lots of different organizations, including ASBA, but you're also on the board of directors for the National School Boards Association, of which ASBA is an affiliate. So tell us a little bit about NSBA, what their role is, and what your role is.
So yeah, great. Yeah, so NSBA, it's a National School Board Association. So just as we have our state association that is here to serve our districts and our members, there's a national organization, if you will, that ASBA belongs to. And they have a similar setup. They host conferences. They do a lot of workshops, research papers, and and they also have a huge advocacy platform, right, to advocate at the national level, to have an influence on federal policies, right, that impact our local districts. And I got involved with NSBA actually my first year as a school board member. You see, within NSBA, they have these equity councils, similar to ASBA, how we have our alliances. Mm-hmm. NSBA has the councils, and so they have the National Black Council, they have the National Hispanic, and then they have the Native American, Alaskan Native Council. And currently I serve as the chair for the National Black Council. and I'm in my first year and I have one more year left. And really, it's all about advocating for our African American students within the Black Council, but then also bringing people in, bringing school board members in to give them the tools necessary to be the best advocates for our students. And so NSBA is a great organization to get involved with. They're constantly looking for folks who want to serve on these councils. And so I got to tell you, there's a lot of opportunity and growth for board members who are looking to serve outside of their district. And I highly encourage it.
So not only are you involved with NSBA, but you're also involved with the alliance and caucuses that we have within ASBA. So you're past president of the Black Alliance and a current officer in our Hispanic Native American caucus as well. So tell us about what that is and how board members can get involved.
Yeah, so the alliances, our local alliances and our caucuses here with ASBA, I think are essential. And guess what? You don't have to be a person of color to belong to these caucuses and alliances. If you're a board member and you serve any students of color, you should be involved. You should be in the room to learn, to ask questions, seek understanding, so that way you can be, as I mentioned earlier, to be a better advocate for our students, right? And so there's no cost to join. I highly recommend it. Not only that, you get to network with other board members from across the state and really get to see what's happening in their districts. You get to share what's going on in your district. And then from there, that's really how you truly learn as well, is by networking and building these relationships across the state. So just again, another wonderful opportunity for you to become involved with and engage with. And again, I highly encourage it.
Yes, thank you. The other alliance that we have is a rural alliance, which is an alliance of school districts that are in rural and remote areas in Arizona. So as we kind of close out our little conversation, what would be your advice for new board members, in this first 2 years? We know it kind of takes a couple of years to get yourself acclimated to the role, but what would be a couple pieces of advice for them?
Well, here's what I would say for new board members is that understand the position that you're in. You are in a position to influence the next generation of leaders. You're in a position that can literally make or break your community. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you're a dysfunctional board member, or if you're not highly engaged, well, that's going to also trickle down into your schools. And when we have bad schools, we know that trickles down into our community. Folks don't want to move into the area. There's not going to be any workforce or businesses that want to set up shop. So really, being a good board member is a lot, and it takes a lot. And I understand that, a lot of us have families, or maybe you don't, maybe you're retired, but understand that the position you're in is a gift. It's a gift from the community. They entrusted you to be one of the governing authorities on the board to make the decisions for your local community that directly impact your kids. So what I always say is move with a sense of urgency. Learn as much as you can. Listen. Network with other board members who have been around, and don't be afraid to pick up the phone, send a text if you have any questions. Reach out to ASBA if you have a question and you want to know how something works in a board meeting. Don't be afraid to ask questions, but move with a sense of urgency. We're living in a time in which inequities are just exacerbated, and we don't have time for board members who are just going to sit there and soak up all the oxygen without putting in the work. So I would say put in the work, learn all you can. Don't be afraid to ask questions and network, because relationships are key to helping you get to where you want to go.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Devin. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for all
this was awesome.
doing for your community, for Arizona community, and for the national community. So really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope you have a good day.
This is great.